Okay, I think the V4 might be the wrong choice today. Just too big, it's too much power. But I don't want to miss out on all those cool tech features and all that like nice modern motorcycle things. Something like the R6, yeah, it's less power, but it doesn't have all the technology. It doesn't have all the things I can rely on. It doesn't have cruise control. It doesn't have nice amenities. I don't know why I pointed at that bike when I said that. Ah, here we are. I've owned this 2025 Yamaha R9 for a couple months now. I bought this bike back in May or June of this year. And since then, I've put 4,964 miles as of today, almost 5,000 miles. Doesn't sound like a lot, I know, but when spread across 5 other different motorcycles, I think that's pretty good. I think to date, this has been the motorcycle that I've ridden the most this year. More so than the V4, especially more than the H2, more so than the Grom. I've put more miles and spent more seat time on the R9, more so than any other motorcycle I own. And there's good reasons for that. It's comfortable, it's quick, it's easy to ride, it's really easy to work on. I have a lot of reasons why I like this motorcycle. But there's also a couple of reasons, mainly 3 reasons, why I don't like it. I see a lot of people in my comment section looking for a nice middleweight sport bike these days. And to be honest with you, the options are pretty sparse. You're looking at like a Gixxer 750, you're looking at a Yamaha R7, the Kawasaki ZX6R, all pretty heavy hitters, but most of those bikes haven't been updated, or if they have been updated, they haven't had like a serious engine upgrade in quite a while. This is the bike that people are shopping for when looking for a middleweight track-oriented bike. A bike that they can hop on and look cool on their daily commute to school. A bike that they can hop on and take to the track any day that they want to. A bike that they can have sitting in the garage and their friends can think that they're cool. So today I'm gonna talk about the top 3 reasons why I don't like this motorcycle. Luckily, starting issues are not a problem on a Yamaha R9, though it is a Yamaha. I get the jokes, but no problem.
Oh no! It is 12:37 currently, and my class starts at 12:55, and I'm about 30 minutes away from school. So we might end up being a little bit late. I don't know why am I always late when riding my motorcycle? It makes no sense. It's supposed to be a faster mode of transportation. Shut up, dude. What's going on? Now, I want to preface this video by saying I have nothing super negative to say about this bike. You kind of have to preface these videos that are like 3 reasons not to buy something or 3 reasons not to like something by saying that, like, I really do like this bike. Well, yes, I think it has its flaws. Nothing is perfect. Nothing good is perfect. So yes, I'm going to say negative things in this video about this bike. Please don't let it hurt your feelings. I promise you, I really do like this bike. And if you're like dead set on buying one, I promise you, you're going to enjoy it. But there's 3 things you should probably be aware of before buying one, so that way you're not disappointed when owning it. Ooh, I'm trying to get gas early because I'm trying to go straight to Gixxer after school, trying to get that man more protein so that way he can heal up faster. As of recording this video, he's still in Ohio, and there's no really good gas stations in Parma that I want to spend a large majority of my time at, so there we go. Only about $5 worth of gas, not bad. So one of the things I don't want to talk about, I don't want to make as one of my reasons as to why I don't like this bike is the looks. I get comments about this bike's looks from every biker that I know. They don't like them. But that's not a reason as to why you shouldn't want to buy this bike. Looks shouldn't really be a factor if this is the bike that you're considering. Now, the number 1 reason I think that you should not buy a Yamaha R9, at least the 25 and especially the 26 model, is the price. In 2025, this bike costs $12,500, and I don't think that Yamaha has announced the price changes for 2026, but with tariffs coming in, I think affecting the 2026 models I've talked to a few of my friends about, it's going to significantly increase the MSRP of this bike all the way up to around $13,500. $13,500 at a minimum. Now, I paid about $14,000 out the door for this bike in 2025, so that means in 2026, depending on where you live with taxes and fees and all that stuff, you could very well pay upwards of $15,000 for an R9. For a middleweight sport bike with a street motor in it. Now, for $15,000, that could get you a lot of bike on the used market, personally. That's like, we're talking like brand new leader bike or like slightly used leader bike territory. Like, you could get a slightly used CBR 1000 for that price. Maybe even cheaper if you're smart. $15,000 is a lot for a motorcycle that, yeah, it has like a lot of amenities. $15,000 for a motorcycle is just so much. Like, just 2 years ago, I paid $14,500 for my Yamaha R1 that only had 1,000 miles on it. These bikes are getting insanely expensive, and I'm super late to school. My God. Class is about to start in 4 minutes, and I'm still like 20 minutes away, dude. I am so sorry, Mama. If you're watching this, Mom, I'm sorry. I'm trying to be responsible. It's just that everything in life is so hard. I mean, dude, like, my commute to school sucks, bro. It's just sitting in traffic the entire way through. That's why I've been taking the Grom to school, not this bike, but I figured I really wanted to get this video out, and I'm not going to be able to turn out of here, am I? Dude, are you joking? Are you joking right now? That dude is just popping a U-turn in the middle of the fucking road over there. Meanwhile, I'm trying to turn... Sir! Can I do that? Is it legal? Is that legal? Well, class is going to start while I'm sitting at this here road. All right, here we go. Risking my life to go to school. Ah. This bike is so much faster in the Grom. I'm just thinking for 15,000, like let's say worst case scenario, you know, tariffs increase the price by $1,000 and then they throw an extra $500 because usually bikes go up by that every single year. So it goes from $12,500 to what, $14,000, and then it's $15,500 for like taxes and fees and everything. Almost $16,000 out the door. What could you get on the used market for $15,500 to $16,000? What would I get personally? I'm not going to recommend a leader bike because that is leader bike territory for $16,000. But like, let's say you want like middleweight sport bikes. I would personally get a used 2016 Triumph Daytona, just a base model. You could probably find one of those for like $7 to $8 grand for like a nice clean one. And then you still have another $7 to $8 grand left over to play with. You could spend that on track days. You could spend that on like a truck, so that way you can take your bike places, or you can spend it on like a supermoto, so that way you can do stunts. There's so much you could do with $16,000 on Facebook Marketplace. Clearly, that's not what I did with when I bought this bike, $14,000. But all right, well, you're just switching lanes with me. Okay, my goal was to not switch lanes with you, sir. I'm going to sneak in front of you, though. Granted, I make content with motorcycles, and I knew the R9 would be a hot commodity. I also had a little bit of attachment to my old MT-09, and so I kind of wanted to ride the spiritual successor to that. Oh no, someone stole my spot. Yeah, that's annoying. Try to just squeeze in here, I suppose. I'm actually going to lock the bars on this because I do not trust someone stealing my R9. I guess I can steal my camera. I don't really care about that. Only 10 minutes late to class. Let's go. You're not going to stop? Thank you. Good boy. There she is, looking all pretty. I don't want to make this a point in my video because I think,
Hey, so the audio cut out here, but my second point is that you have to spend a lot of money on this bike on modifications to get it to where it needs to be.
Motorcycle modifications are expensive these days, and they're only getting more expensive. And my bike's modified, and so I don't really, like, worry about this stuff anymore, but this bike's stock does have a really bad dead spot in second gear, almost to the point where it makes second gear feel unusable at times. Like, it's bad. I know there's gonna be some of you who are like watching this be like, no, I'll just get it and ride it stock. I don't need to spend another $1,500. I'll just ride it stock. It'll be fine. I promise you. When you ride this bike for the first time stock, you're going to be disappointed. Now, that being said, once you get it modified, it's just as good as any other bike. It's fine. You just need to tune it. But that does cost money, unfortunately. It does cost a little bit of cash extra. You know, there are some tuners that have said that they've gotten this bike upwards of 140 horsepower. That is approaching leader bike levels of horsepower. A CBR 1000 stock, I think, pushes like 150 to the wheel. 140 horsepower is a lot for a middleweight sport bike, but that doesn't come for free. You know, you don't just throw this bike up on the dyno and get it done. The potential for this bike is really big, which is a cool thing for the bike, but it's just like you have to acknowledge the fact that you have to spend a lot of money in order to get this bike to where it's supposed to be. And for someone, I would say the majority of people, that's not really something that people are normally interested in. They don't want to buy a motorcycle that's already kind of expensive just to have to spend more money on it. They kind of just want to buy the bike and have it work. But I understand everyone's different. Some people actually like modifying their bikes, so I'm not going to judge. Yeah, let's go. Of course. So after I just had delicious, yummy Chipotle after class, we are not hopping back on the bike, actually, initially. We're going to be heading to the grocery store. That's because Jixabro asked me specifically for some beef ramen. I asked him, I was like, anything you want in the world for me to bring you to the hospital. Hot food, Chipotle, Mexican, you know, anything, burger, anything. He asked me for beef ramen. I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to help a boy out. Now, why he asked specifically for beef ramen, I don't know. I'm not gonna judge the man. To get this bike to 140 horsepower, you're talking like you need to completely redo the intake, you need to add cams, you need to add full exhaust tunes, all of that. Now, you're gonna be spending like close to almost $19,000 all said and done. If you do the work yourself, you're spending leader bike, like stock leader bike money for what? So your middleweight sport bike can go a little bit faster. To me, this bike is just not worth spending that kind of money on. Like, if you want a bike with over 140 horsepower, just get an R1 at that point. You're gonna be saving money in the long run. And you get to just hop on the bike and just enjoy it. Now, if you're like me and you just want to put an exhausted tune on it, then you can maybe start to justify it. But to the people that really want to fully build out this motorcycle, I don't know, maybe explain it to me. I don't quite understand it. Okay, this is perfect. They're doing a little construction area. Let me just yoink myself around this construction. I feel like people are going to be a little bit less likely to run over the construction than they are me. Look at that. Perfect. I wanted to come here to try to grab a little exhaust clip. It is a little bit windy today, so hopefully this works out. There's a few things I don't like about the R9, but the way it sounds is not one of them. This last reason is going to need a little bit of a demonstration. I appreciate you guys sticking with me on this video, but just trust me on this. Really hard to do this with a whole bucket of ramen back here, but you know, I forgot to mention in my last video, we're actually coming up on the spot where Jixabro was hit on his supermoto. This is like a very common area that like I ride through, so this is like I'm literally on the way to the hospital right now. I think the truck was attempting to pull into the Menards. I'm not really sure exactly which direction he was heading, but I'm pretty sure that was the hill up ahead. Hello, what's going on? Oh yeah, you good, you got it. There's a lot of motorcycles around here. This is a very common like suburb area, Parma. This is dubbed, like I've talked to a lot of bikers, this is like the worst intersection in all of Parma. Sneak around you. It just requires a lot of skill, unfortunately, to navigate this area, and if you aren't from here, it's just, you wouldn't know. Like, you literally would have no idea. Oh, it's a little dude. Give him some room to come up to me and say hi. I know he's going to. What's up? What video?
Quiet. Video.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
What's up, dude?
This way, man.
Oh, dear. Terrible, brother. He said something about a video. I couldn't quite hear him. This is the problem I have. It's too windy. It's where we stop back there. It's too windy and I can't hear anything over the bikes and the earplugs and hard of hearing. It's just all adds up. Can't hear anything. Let's see if I can sneak in another parking space. I've been lucky up until this point. This looks good. This should do. So the last and final reason why you shouldn't buy a Yamaha R9, it's of course going to be the winglets. Yeah, those stupid winglets, man. That's the worst reason to buy the R9. I'm kidding. Obviously, I'm kidding. Though I think the winglets are stupid and make this bike look atrocious. Not a reason not to buy this bike. You really don't even feel them when you're riding the bike. And hey, if you like the winglets, maybe that's a reason to buy it. It's just personally, I grew up watching motorcycles without winglets, and all of a sudden they all have them. Can't you blame me for being a product of how I grew up. Let's go get the bra his ramen. Finally, I can get into my last and final reason why not to buy a Yamaha R9. Sorry, I know I kept you guys waiting this entire video, but so the last and final reason why I feel like you guys shouldn't buy a Yamaha R9 is I feel like this bike feels a little bit too clinical for me. This bike is entirely and wholly hampered by a bunch of electronics. I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing. This bike, it makes it extremely easy to ride, but there's not a single thing on this bike that feels like you're wholly connected to it. This throttle right here is electronic. There's no cables going from your hand to the bike. It's all just sensors. It's kind of just a theme for this bike, is everything on this bike is electronic. To get this bike to run right, you have to tune it and do a bunch of things to it to get rid of emissions. It's just like, it feels like everything about this bike is working against you, if that makes sense. It's not like something like my old Daytona that had a direct throttle connection from the throttle to the throttle bodies. And yes, it makes this bike easier to ride because it has all these electronics that can work with you even on the track. I mean, these electronics are literally designed to go on the track and help you instead of hurt you. I know there's going to be some people in the comments who are like, oh, I just ride with my electronics off, but like, yeah, that used to be the case back in the day when electronics were like really bad and hurt you. I don't think you should ride like you're relying on electronics. I don't think that's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying the electronics make this bike easier to ride. It's kind of been a theme with a lot of modern motorcycles, like with the new Ducati V2. It makes them easier to ride on track, but the trade-off is the connection to the bike feels a little bit numb. Like I've said, I've put more miles on this bike than I'm literally about to tick over to 5,000 miles. I've put more miles on this bike than any other motorcycle that I own because it's so easy to ride because of how comfortable it is. But I still feel more of a connection to something like my R6. This bike, while easier to ride, yes, it's more predictable through the RPM range. It behaves the exact same whether you're at 5,000 RPM or 10,000 RPM. It just, that rideability will never replace the drama for me. And really how much that extra 6,000 RPMs really matters to you is really up to you. Because to be quite honest with you, I'm probably going to ride the R9 tonight mainly because of those amenities. Because it has the cruise control, because it has, check this out, you know, I've been at school all day, my phone is almost dead. It literally, I have a charger back here, I can plug my phone in while I'm riding. It has navigation on the screen if you're like trying to get somewhere you don't know and you don't have a phone mount. It has much better suspension than the R6. I'm not saying go rent out and spend $20,000 on a used R6 because the R9 doesn't have that last few thousand RPMs. But what I am saying is that clinicalness, that pure electronic feeling it's a bad thing. And it's something to be considered when buying this bike if it's going to be your only motorcycle. Because I don't personally mind having a bike that just does exactly what I want it to when I tell it to do it. You know, having a bike that's a little bit more comfortable even though it's a sport bike. Having a bike that has all those extra features like cruise control. When the next day if I feel like riding something a little bit more exciting, I can just hop on this or that or that or that. What I'm saying is buy every motorcycle you want. No, it's just because I ride all these different bikes. They're like each of these motorcycles are so individually different that it's just something worth mentioning. Again, I think the R9 is a phenomenal motorcycle, and I hope that you guys buy one. Those bikes are sick. They're dope motorcycles. There's a reason why I've had it this long and I've ridden it this much. But those are just 3 things I think you should consider, with a few honorable mentions thrown in there, that you need to consider before purchasing one of these awesome machines. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'm tired. I'm gonna go lay down for a little bit. Take care of yourselves. Love y'all, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye bye.